considered software companies before, and more software is a huge part of what they do. And part of that is because they need to connect with developers. This development community, if you are not connecting with developers, if you are not embracing developers, then your company is going to become obsolete faster than companies that are embracing developers, that are focusing on providing APIs and providing open source software to embrace the development community. So APIs are the first part of sort of what's important and how to connect with these developers. And APIs, as you probably know, are programmable interfaces to your service. So at GitHub, we have a whole website for GitHub, or for developers of GitHub. We have a huge API. Almost anything you can do on our website, you can do through the API. In fact, including some things you can't do on the website, you can do through the API. And there's a lot of huge advantages to this. One is you don't have to solve every problem in the world. We don't have to look at what are all the problems that software development, the teams and software developers have on the planet and solve all of them. We can provide a core set of services, we can focus on doing something very good, and we can provide APIs for everybody else that wants to use us and not have to solve everybody's problem for them. So APIs open up this economy where other companies, in this case Waffle and ZenHub, can come in and see weaknesses in some of our products to some of our customers and fill in that gap, provide tools that our customers want that we're not ready to focus on, or we don't want to focus on because maybe it's a smaller community or something. And so companies can solve our customers' problems for us. There are ecosystems that can be built out of this. So there are tons of companies that build on our API and provide services to our customers and make money off of them. And we don't have to solve all of these companies' problems for them, all of these customers' problems for them. Other people can come in, they can use our API, they can use us as the core of their platform, and they can build services off of that to solve customers' problems. And that means that we don't have to do it. Amazon is another great example of this, where they have all of these web services, hundreds of web services that they charge for. They run sort of all of this background infrastructure, but they provide almost no user interface for it. They simply have a service and APIs for everything and very little else. And they rely on the development community to fill in those gaps for them. So you get companies like Heroku, which build on all of this to provide easy user interfaces, focused user interfaces for people that want to use Amazon services but not deal with Amazon. And then off of that, you get services that are built on that. So Heroku provides APIs, and then more services use the Amazon ones and the Heroku ones to solve even more problems, even more focused issues. And a whole economy, a whole ecosystem can be built off of those simple APIs. And Amazon doesn't have to do any of that, but makes money, grows off of that. Simple APIs is another thing that I think is important. It's something we focus on at GitHub for our own APIs, and we've seen the most successful APIs are the simple ones, the ones that are easy to use, that are easy to understand. For GitHub, you can run on the command line a curl, a really fast sort of curl argument, and get JSON back, and it's very easy to play with, it's very easy to understand, it's not complicated, it's not SOAP and WDSL and sort of all of these things that are not really in the end necessary. What's necessary is, do you have a programmable interface to the service that you provide that other people can understand and build off of? And the other part of sort of what's important to engage in the larger development community, software development community, is open source. And again, we host most of the world's open source, so we get to see pretty much all of it, all of the patterns involved, all of the things that companies find important, that developers find important about open source and about software. And there's a lot of great things. The simplest one is if you provide APIs to provide software, client libraries to help developers consume that API, because the easier it is for the development community to consume and use your API, then the easier it is for them to integrate their services with yours, to customize your core product to tie in deeply with the systems and the things that they're trying to do, and provides a customer for you for life, basically, and a happy one because they have control over what they're doing. But if you open source the client, so again, the easier you make it, the better. So we have our API, but we don't just have the API. We have a bunch of client libraries that if you want to do something in Ruby or in Objective-C or in .NET, we provide clients for you. And not only do we provide clients for you, we don't just sort of give you a bundle file or DLL or something and say, here's the API, use that. We give all of the source code out, right? So that we don't have to maintain all of it ourselves. We can have a deeper conversation with our customers, with our partners, with our developers, and we can say, what do you want to see? What do you want out of this library? And we can have them even implement it for us, so we don't have to spend all our own time on that a lot of times. And you can see this as well, sort of a GitHub page about the contribution graph in the last month for one of those libraries. And only, I think, 2 people of the 11 that have provided a lot of software updates and maintenance fixes and bug fixes and features, only about 2 of the 9 or 10 work for GitHub, and the rest are the community that uses these libraries. So they're seeing weaknesses in our product and they're fixing them for us. And that not only helps us save time and energy and resources in working on them, it also helps our partners feel empowered to do what they want to be able to do without us encumbering them. AWS does the same thing. They have client libraries for all of these different languages, for all of their different services online, and they maintain them, but the community comes in and helps fix them. So most of the people that are working on these client libraries for AWS in this instance do not work for Amazon. Right? There are people that are consuming these services that see needs, that see problems, and they fix them themselves. And everybody that uses the Amazon ecosystem in this case gets to profit off of that. And that is sort of part of this API and open source economy is everybody being connected and helping each other with integrating their products and everybody improving. And then the last thing that I'd like to talk about is how open source speeds adoption and standardization. So this is a very common problem, I think, in all of these different areas where lots of people are trying to solve the same problem in very large ways, right? And what you'll see a lot, and what you saw a lot in the past, is everybody trying to solve them in a different proprietary way and trying to get market share out of their customers and say, use our way, it's the best way, or use our way because you have to, because you're using all of our other options. And what we're seeing more now, I think, especially in these sort of API-focused companies, is to use open source as a way to standardize common problems. So this is a problem set that we had, that Git has had for a long time, that we have been struggling to deal with companies that have large assets, really big files that they don't want to commit in with their smaller source code files, big audio files, big movies, things like that. And we decided that we wanted to fix this problem, but not only did we want to fix it, we wanted it to be fixed for everyone, not just for GitHub customers. And so one of the nice things about that is that we worked on it for a long time. We worked on it for maybe a few years. And when we felt we were close to finished with it, we open sourced it. We open sourced the spec, we put it online, we made a nice website, we put all the source code online, and not only are people starting to use it, but one of our largest contributors to it is one of our competitors, right? That has a competitive Git service that has the same problems that we have. And instead of our company and their company trying to solve the same problem in 2 different and incompatible ways, by open sourcing it, we're able to work with them so that we're solving the same problem that shouldn't be a core business problem for either of us in a way that helps everybody, right? So everybody doesn't have to choose their way or our way, but they can choose the industry standard way that we've helped do, and open source helps us do that, right? It helps include everybody. So, that is the crux of it. Developers are becoming more important because software is becoming more important to every company on the planet. Not just tech companies, not just software companies, not just infrastructure companies, but the tractor companies and farming companies and car companies and retail companies and everything else that you can imagine. Every company that is embracing developers, that is embracing the API economy, that understands that they need to be providing services that can be used and reused and integrated and customized, that those companies are the ones that we're seeing take off and do well. And the way that you do that is by providing services, by providing APIs that are simple, that are clean, that are open, by providing open source for the things that are not your core business needs, that can involve the entire development community, that can involve even your people that you're competing against. And if you are providing these APIs, and if you're providing this open source, and you're participating fully in this API economy, that you will get the developers on your side, and that is what ultimately makes a company succeed in the long term. So that's it, and thank you very much.